This is my Nitecore LR70, a 3-in-1 lantern, flashlight, and power bank combo. And in this video, we'll be testing all its different light modes, how bright it is, mobile charging, USB charging, shine distance, beam distance, waterproofing, and much, much more. I've been wanting to test this LR70 for a while, so I reached out to Nitecore Singapore, requested for this very specific model, and they generously sent this over for my review. Now, out of the box, this is what I got: warranty information, a user guide, a USB-C to USB-C cable, the Nitecore LR70, and this is just the packaging. In total, there are only 2 power buttons. The one in the middle of the front is the lantern button with the lantern icon on it. The one in the middle of the side is the flashlight button with a flashlight icon on it. Now, here's how to use all the lantern modes. First, long press the lantern button to turn it on. Then, to cycle through the different brightness settings, short press the button instead. And finally, to turn it off, long press the button again. Here's a quick summary of how to use the lantern in its white lantern mode. Moving on, we now have the red lantern modes. First, make sure the lantern is off, and to access the red modes, double press the lantern button. This will take you to the low red mode. To cycle through the different modes here, short press the button each time. After the low red mode, we've got high red. Next is the beacon. Then we've got the SOS mode. And then it cycles back to the low mode again. To turn off the lantern, just long press the button. This is another quick summary on how to get the lantern into the red mode. Now, we've also got all the flashlight modes. This time you're using the flashlight button, so long press it to turn it on. The first mode here is low brightness. Then short press it to cycle through the different modes. Next, we have mid brightness. This is high brightness. And this is higher brightness. The brightest mode is turbo, and you can double short press the button from any mode to get there. Short pressing it again will take you back to the brightness level that you had on before. And just long press the flashlight button to turn it off. Here's a quick summary on how to use all the different flashlight modes. And of course, here are all the different light modes that we just went through. There are tons of modes here, so it'll help to take a picture if you need to. 2 more tips here. 1, if the lantern is on and you'd like to switch it to the flashlight, just short press the flashlight button, or short press the lantern button to switch it back, and vice versa. They cannot be turned on at the same time though. And 2, the flashlight has a memory setting. But the lantern does not, so it'll always revert to the low brightness mode. As for runtimes, you can find all the official specs in the user guide for both the flashlight and lantern modes. Now, compared to these official specs that I took from the user guide, here's how my tested results compared. For both lantern modes, I found that I got anywhere between 10 to 40% to almost double the official runtime for every single test here, which was really great. The flashlight runtimes were more accurate, and I'll run through everything with you. The turbo mode stays on for only exactly 30 seconds because it's so bright. The black aluminum housing here overheats a lot. Even on the higher brightness mode, the aluminum housing will also overheat. So after the 7 hours and 45-minute mark-ish, it dropped to the high brightness mode for 2 more hours, then the mid brightness mode for 6 more hours, and then dropped to the low brightness mode for 15 more hours before it died. It doesn't overheat that much on high, but you only get 19 hours before it drops to mid for 6.5 hours and then 14 hours on low. The rest of the tests ran smoothly without dropping in power. And yes, this low brightness test actually ran for more than 1 entire month. The Nitecore LR70 also comes with battery indicator lights. When there's no light, just short press either the lantern or flashlight button and count the number of times the blue light flashes. 3 blinks means there's more than 50% of battery left. 2 blinks is less than 50%, and 1 blink is less than 10% according to the official specs. So I tried to get some data across several different tests here. Keep in mind that since the lights do not stay on and I had to keep turning the light off and turning the indicator light on, this test was, well, not so easy to carry out, so I take all the readings that I gave you here as just a rough estimate. But from what I saw, I thought the indicator lights were pretty accurate. 2 blinks means about 50 to 60% left, and 1 blink is slightly more than 10%, so about right. For all the lantern and flashlight lumen outputs, you can find all the official info here as well. Now, to test whether the official specs are accurate, I used a light meter. And based on everything you just saw here were all my results. For the high and mid brightness levels of the white light lantern, you get roughly 3 times the stated lumen output. It's very bright, especially the high brightness. You can take one look at it and know instantly it's not 400 lumens. The rest of the test results, they are a bit more accurate, and here's what all the different light modes look like. Next, I also tested the lumen output of the flashlight mode using a very rough bounce test. Now here's everything you need to know. For these 3 settings, turbo, higher, and high, I used a ceiling bounce test. For the higher setting, I got a reading of 52 lux, which came up to about 1,281 lumens, which is pretty accurate. For the high brightness mode, I got a reading of 8 lux, which was about 200 lumens. The turbo mode was pretty interesting. It hit a max of 207 lux, which was more than 5,000 lumens. Then notice it steadily drops to 196 lux, which was less than 5,000 lumens. And finally, 30 seconds in, it'll drop back to the higher mode with 50 plus lux. For the mid and low modes, I used a much shorter bounce test, got these readings in lux here, and these came up to about 15 lumens on mid and close to 0 lumens on low. And that's what you need to know about the flashlight lumen outputs. Now, for the shine distance of the lantern, this is exactly what I measured using the same lux meter. Everything you just saw will be summarized into this table here, and this is how the shine distance of the lantern affects what size tent you can light up. Also, I added the red light modes if you wanted to check that out too. For the beam distance of the flashlight, you can find all the official specs here, ranging from 10 meters to 300 meters. To test this, I used the same testing method again with the same lux meter by backing away from the light until the reading hits 0 on the meter. Now, here are my tested results in table form. Take note that my tested beam distance will differ from the official specs because of different testing methods. And also for the turbo setting, my tested beam distance came in at about the same as the higher setting. But remember that you only get turbo for about 30 seconds, so this was difficult for me to measure, hence take it with a pinch of salt. For the charging input, pull off the waterproof flap on the side and you'll find a USB-C port inside. This is a two-way port. For the charge time based on a 9-volt 2A output, a full charge would take less than 3 hours, and on a 5-volt 2A output, it'll take about 4 hours. When I charged my Nitecore, my charging port gave me 9 volts and less than 1 ampere, and based on this, my charge time usually comes in between 3 hours 15 to 3 hours 30 minutes. The blue indicator light will keep blinking when it's charging, and when it turns solid blue, that means it's fully charged. For the Nitecore's charging output, just use the same USB-C port and plug your phone cable in. You can tell that your device is charging when the indicator light stays a solid blue the whole time. This charging output can give your devices a max of 3 amperes. But it doesn't mean that your device will draw the entire current. So I found that the Nitecore definitely charged my phone more quickly compared to other similar pieces of gear I've used before. It charged my phone 1.5 times faster. Now, here were my exact results when I did this test with my iPhone 12. Overall, I got 3.5 full charges of my iPhone 12, which lasted me, well, 3.5 days. On the 4th day, it stopped charging midway through, and after that, I still got about 23 hours of leftover light on the low brightness setting of the white lantern. From my estimates, that's slightly less than 8% battery left. There is a single D-ring at the top which you can use to hang up on any open lantern loop. To stow it away, you can push it to either side, the left or the right, and it's slightly magnetic as well, so it'll stay in place. For waterproofing, the IP rating on the LR70 is IP67. This means that it can take not just heavy rain, water jets, but it can even be completely submerged up to 1 meter for 30 minutes. So I tested this out in not only 30 minutes of heavy rain, but even 10 minutes of high pressure water jets. After both these tests, here's what I noticed. First, everything was still in good working condition. Second, I also pulled open the waterproof flap to the USB-C port and found that it was completely dry. So far, so good. The last waterproof test is total submersion. After 30 minutes of this, I checked all the different modes and found that they were all still working well. However, the very next day, my Nitecore was completely dead and I found water leaking out from the USB-C port. Upon further testing, I noticed the battery just sometimes drains on its own, even without me using the light, and the battery indicator lights are also kind of wonky and not completely accurate anymore. So overall, I think the IP rating is a little bit overstated. For impact resistance, this has a safe drop height of about 1 meter, so I tested this out. Although it landed a little bit heavy, all the functions were still working great. There were no scratches on the plastic or on the aluminum housing, and the lens was still perfectly fine as well. For quality, we're going to be looking at light quality, material quality, design quality, and other, well, miscellaneous pieces of info. For light quality, the light temperature is 4000 Kelvin. That's not warm and not cool, it's neutral. The light diffusion on this isn't the best though. Even on the low brightness mode, you can still clearly see all the individual LEDs under the diffuser. So as you might imagine, it gets quite glaring quite quickly on the brighter modes. As for material quality, the light diffuser is made of high-grade plastic, the bottom is made of aluminum alloy, and the buttons and port are rubberized. For design quality, that was really well done. There are grooves on the sides of the lantern, which is meant for your fingers to go around in the flashlight grip, and the flashlight button is right there at your thumb for easy access to all the brightness modes. On top of that, when using the lantern, you can first hang it using the D-ring. Second, you can place it right side up. And third, you can even place it upside down depending on where you want your light diffused to. Some miscellaneous info, the warranty comes in at a decent 2 years. And if you're wondering if this can be used while it's charging, yes it can. For portability, I first measured the weight, and that came in at about 9.56 ounces. As for the pack size, the length comes in at about 4.4 inches, the width comes in at 2.4 inches, and the height is about 1.3 inches. For pros, this Nitecore LR70 has loads of not only lantern modes, but also flashlight modes. If you remember this quick graphic that I showed you previously, here are all the different modes that we went through. White lantern low, mid and high, red lantern low, high, beacon and SOS, flashlight low, mid, high, higher, and even turbo. That's a lot of modes, 12 to be exact. I also really liked the range of brightness settings as well. For the lantern, we get a range of between 6, which is perfect for a nightlight if you don't want to disturb your friends, to a whopping more than 1000 lumens, which could light up a small campsite. And you even get red light modes as well, which is super useful in the middle of the night if you need your eyes to adjust to the dark. The flashlight also comes with a great range of brightness settings as well, ranging from 0 lumens to more than 5000 lumens. On top of that, the beam distances are quite impressive too. On the turbo and higher modes, you can even light up 100 feet ahead of you, which was more than enough for me. Overall, I actually got more than what I expected from the official specs, which was very impressive. Moving away from just the light modes, the LR70 also has tons of other great features, and I'll quickly list them all on screen now. We've got mobile charging, fast charging for both the USB-C input and output, a low current mode for lower power devices, we've got an accurate battery indicator light, flashlight memory, a magnetic D-ring, IP67 ring proofing, and drop proofing of up to 1 meter as well. Another feature is the great battery capacity, coming in at 10,000 milliampere hours. It's not common that camping lighting comes with such big capacities. On the mid lantern, with 63 hours of runtime, which was also bright enough to light up an entire 5-person tent, this can easily last a week of camping without needing a single recharge, which was way more than enough for me. If this video has been helpful so far, please help me hit that like button. Thank you, and I really appreciate it. As for cons, the LR70 is definitely a bit on the heavier side. It's not a lightweight lantern, or lantern that you can just hang on your pack. Another big con is the price. Of all the lantern flashlight combos that I've got, this is the most expensive so far. And also take note that even though this has an IP67 rating, the submersion test killed mine. So just don't go submerging it in water for too long, and I think he should be fine. However, overall, with everything that I got with this, I thought the price tag was, well, justifiable. With loads of pros and very few cons, if you don't mind the weight and the price, and if you need a 2-in-1 lantern and flashlight together, I think this is easily one of the best ones I've tested, and I know this because I've tested this against 6 other ones in this video right here, so do check it out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in that one.